Hi guys, in the name of Christ, how you doing? It's your girl Crancake Garabo. I hope you're good, I hope you're peachy, I hope you're stellar, and I hope you're in a neat little bunch. It is the 4th of November 2023. In the evening at around 19:23, I spent the day just, frolicking around all over the show, cleaning the house. So I'm only coming to talk now. I'm actually quite exhausted, but it's not natural, it's demonic, but it's okay, because I'll survive. I don't even know what to talk about, but every single day I gotta say something. So I'm here. I hope not to be here for many parts, but I'm just gonna share with you what it is that I saw yet again. Just dreams, okay? I'm tired of repeating the same stuff over and over again, but whatever. It is what it is. Let me just put some caveats out there. I'm wearing app makeup, so if it bounces up and down, only understand that it's an application. Number 2, my captions down below are not always accurate, so there are misspells and misquotes or wrong words altogether. And the other day I even saw a profanity. I was like, what in the world? But guys, I really don't have time to edit my my captions, so I just kind of leave them there. One day in the future, maybe there might be a better thing going on. Thirdly, my silence detector every so often takes out my words, and that's just not kosher. But like you, it is what it is. But anyway, let's just get straight to the point. What is the other one? Oh, speech lag. There might be a speech lag here, but I doubt it because it's quite cool. Like the weather is cool, so it helps when it's cool. Alrighty, cool. Let's just get to the point. I really want to just get to the point fast today. You know, I even paused because I'm just... Shoo, you know what, like, just being in the 21st century, or people when they, man, goodness, like, the Lord made us different. All of us, He gave us different personalities. He gave us different preferences. He made us like one person versus another, more for reasons of compatibility. You know, you choose your friends based on your preferences. You choose the man you'll marry based on your preferences, and etc. So that's why God makes us all very colorful, like just different nuances to all of us, okay? Meaning, therefore, that a person really has, like, they get to choose who they want to hang with. They get to choose who they want to love. They get to choose who they want to just spend like 24 hours a day with. And witchcraft is just this thing that is so coercive. And it anticipates as well that alongside witchcraft, forcing a person to do something, it'll also make a person change their preference. You know what? Nobody, men, like, yeah, proper. So let me just put this out there. The Lord does not allow for a woman to preach or to exercise authority over men, but if at all you've been given prophecy as a woman, you get to prophesy. So please do not mistake me for teaching men, okay? But I will nonetheless go out there and share what it is that I saw in a dream, and then explain this thing to perhaps create a disincentive, you know, in the hearts and minds of coercive folk. Like, listen up, men in particular. There is nothing more devastating to men in particular than being cheated on. So we as women are always getting cheated on. It's just our thing. It's what we go through. It is apparently the norm. Apparently, allegedly, as women, we just need to take stuff like that in our stride. And indeed, we do take stuff like that in our stride a lot, and we bounce back. It hurts like no man's business. But I know of women who have let a guy back in, gotten back together, basically, that has cheated like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times in the same year. Yeah, I've seen it happen. It has always caused me to scratch my head on what is going on in this woman's mind? Is she trying to get HIV? But nonetheless, it's a phenomenon that I've only ever seen without fail, in the female community. I've only ever seen this phenomenon in the woman community because it's women that take all this rubbish. in this stride. Okay, men, you cheat on the guy once, maybe he'll let you back in. But when you just do it like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times, forget it. Like, the guy's not sticking around. Okay, no matter how much he loves you, he will get over it. He will find a way to cope. He'll just go on and do what he wants to do. Without this philandering female. That's just the way that men are. They're a lot less forgiving of infidelity than women ever can be. And frankly, it is because of the curse. You know, I keep saying that as women, we are under the curse from Adam and Eve. Adam is under the curse, so too is Eve. So men will be typically a particular way throughout the ages, and women will also be typically a particular way throughout the ages. And women's curse was basically that their desire will be for their husbands. That was Eve's judgment. And Adam's, it was that he's going to want to basically rule his woman, rule her, as with an iron fist. So when you desire your husband, you will just let him come back in over and over and over and over and over again after philandering for the 10th time. But Adam's whole thing is to rule, to basically control the ecosystem. And there is absolutely no control in being with a woman that's just all over the show. A woman that's just sleeping around all over the show. He wants to rule her. To rule her is to put her in a house and she be neat. And if she's not going to be neat, he's just not going to stick around. Do you understand? So men are wired to leave very quickly when women get out of hand in a way that women just aren't. So we take rubbish, they get out. That's men. So it really begs the question, when you are like that as men, why in the world under heaven you are so obsessed with witchcraft? To bring women into your lives that have not chosen you. I don't understand it, right? So perhaps around the whole concept of Korobela. Korobela is a love spell. Bring a woman in. Make her love me. I'm gonna take her by fire and by force, and nobody is gonna tell me any different. Okay? Korobela is, to a certain extent, the deed or the activity of an Adam that's trying to rule Eve. An Adam that's trying to lord it over Eve with just an incredible iron fist. 1 minute. An Adam that's trying to rule Eve with this like claw. Yeah, so if Eve is like not trying to get pursued by Adam, she's not interested. I can see how, since Adam wants to rule, 1 minute. Since Adam wants to rule, okay, Eve, I can see then why the guy would want to kind of like make her be his anyway, whether or not she wants to. But there is a catch-22 in there, and I would imagine also quite the violent disincentive for Adam to force Eve to be with him. And this is it. It's the fact that God has made us all very different, and we all have got various desires, various things we like, various people we prefer to be with versus not, friends we choose to hang with versus not, and so therefore guys we choose to date versus not. And in a free society like South Africa, where a woman is not gonna face beheading, hanging, like, what is this, shooting squad for cheating. Yeah, when you live in a country like South Africa, where cheating is frowned upon, because who does that? But it does not wield murder. It does not cause a person to get killed. It does not cause them to get placed before tribunals, right? This is not the Middle East. Yeah, well, I mean, like, the chick might be frowned upon when she cheats, but she's not gonna die. She's not gonna die. Yesterday, I was rapping on at length. Was it yesterday or day before? I was rapping on at length about how it is that this guy from America that tried to pounce on me like some beast in the wilderness, okay, and marry me real fast. I spoke about how the day would have inevitably arrived when, heavily pregnant with his second or third child, I would have met a guy out there shopping, or I don't know, in whatever circle I might find myself in, fellowship circle, angazi, continuing to do YouTube, and then this person like drops a DM into my emails, and upon responding to the person tapping on my shoulder, I would then come to learn what a phenomenal human being this is, how godly, how super godly he is, how super single he still is at an appropriate age for me, how he makes me laugh, and then I was just gonna be so sad and so conflicted. This guy was just not gonna have me emotionally. I was gonna wander. Do you understand? My mind was gonna wander. And yeah, sure, because I'm godly, I likely would not have let it get to adultery. But I would find myself just kind of over my husband. This guy from America. Let's just have a brief conversation about that, rando. He was just violently boring. He was boring. He was so boring. My last boyfriend, and it's not just him, my ex-boyfriend was so funny. Like, he was so hilarious. He used to remind me of Trevor Noah. I remember one time Trevor Noah came to our offices to do a comedy show. He was hired by MTN to entertain staff. And after he did what he did, I remember at the end of the show thinking, goodness, like, this guy is exactly like my boyfriend. He's exactly like my boyfriend. Just random. He was just so random and yet so incredibly lovable. And the things as well that he would say, it's like, who comes up with stuff like that? Like, who comes up with stuff like that? My ex was like that. He would just drop bombs and you would be on the floor for like a whole 15 to 20 minutes, like cracking up. The next day in the office, you would think about it and then like crack up at your desk, and no one will understand why you're laughing by yourself. When you're driving home, you will think about it and then you will crack up in traffic while you're like bumper to bumper. That was my ex-boyfriend. He was incredibly entertaining. He was not only entertaining, but also he was really good at telling stories. I could listen to him all day and night without ever being bored. Ever being bored. He was also funny in his mannerisms. He was the life of the party. Everybody was always in stitches. And he also had these mannerisms, these things that he used to do. He was a quirky, jocose guy, like Jim Carrey. He was just a funny guy. So I could hang with that dude all day and night. And I could listen to him like watching television all day without saying a thing and just being super entertained like the whole day. He just never ran out of tricks. He always had a new one in his hat. And I guess that's why the relationship lasted 5 years, because I was always watching a very engaging movie on Netflix with my ex. He was a funny guy, and I am a woman that likes to laugh. I am bubbly, fine. I might not be bubbly right now, because I'm sick and I'm exhausted. I'm sick and tired of nastiness. There's a lot of demonic attack and I'm just worn out, okay? But if you watch me every single day religiously without veil, you will know that I'm very bubbly. I'm jocose too. I am also a particular way. I have a flair of my own. Yeah, I also drop bombs every so often. If you think I'm funny, my ex-boyfriend had one up on me. I was shy, right? In a way that he wasn't. So he could just throw these stunts in public and everybody be giggling and I'd be standing in the corner or something giggling. But I was shy. So it was only between the two of us and people that we really knew that I would ever say anything at all. Okay, yeah, but here in front of this camera, I don't have shy at all because, like, I'm here, okay? And there's nobody around. I'm talking into an audience that does, like, I'm behind a camera, so I don't have to be scared of what people are thinking. Yeah, but I am a bubbly girl. I laugh at jokes and I laugh for a very long time as well. Long after the joke is over, sometimes I'm slow to catch the joke and then I laugh later and people are like, oh goodness, Garabo. Yeah, that's how I used to be, I guess, around people, and now that I'm alone, I laugh by myself. Who is this? My cousin. I had a cousin that was similar to me. My dead relative. She's still alive, but she's as good as dead to me. My best friend in the family, her baby sister, was like that, right? This woman that used to be my very close friend, her little sister and I had a special relationship because we were always laughing when nobody else was laughing. Nobody understood what was going on. We were these little charged atoms 24 hours a day in each other's presence because we tickled each other's funny bone, right? So her personality and mine were similar. So the two of us were always just like, that's me. Always just laughing. And if there's a funny person in the room, I'm gonna be the first one to laugh. Right? It doesn't take a lot as well to make me laugh. The jokes don't have to be intricate. Like, nothing has to be intense, like, at all. Okay? But I'm jocose. I'm jocose like that. I'm easy to please. I am. When it comes to, like, funny, like, beans, funny juices, funny bones, I'm that girl. So if I'm not laughing, you know it's deep, you know it's intense. If I'm bored, you know it's hectic. Like, yeah, because I'm easygoing and I laugh at everything. I also have another cousin, you know, what is this, like, she was much younger than me, like born somewhere in the 90s, maybe 1990 or 1992 or whatever, that I grew up. When she was growing up, I guess we were all growing up, but I was a lot older in school. She was always like coming to where I stay to be around after school. And we got a little bit tight because of that. And when she got older and became a woman, she saw it fit to make out of me a role model and a mentor. So I took her under my wing, type establishment thing. And then I discovered that, like, when she was now a whole grown woman and I was also a grown woman, but a much older grown woman, the two of us, you would swear, were just this like silly little clown pair like Laurel and Hardy. We also used to laugh like all the time. She was also always into these giggles, and so we got close, even though we had such a big gap in age between each other. Like, I was almost 10 years older than her, but because of how similar our personalities were, yeah, we would hook up for lunches and just spend like hours together just laughing. Yeah, I have a thing about funny people. I like them. I can't therefore marry a man that's not funny. And you know what, the thing about that one as well is that all my boyfriends that I loved like a lot, all of them, which is hilarious, guys. All of them were hilarious. All of the ones that I really like, I couldn't know for the life of me, this is my boo. Yeah, I was always chuckling in those relationships. I remember I done messed up big time. The first guy I ever kissed, I broke his heart because he was boring. He didn't make me laugh. And the next guy that I dated was just a funny guy. Like, I have a thing about funny guy. Oh, there's this one dude that I allowed to shatter me into a million pieces by taking me on a date and then afterwards showing me his life with his girlfriend on social media. It's a long story, another one for another day. We were both singing Jacques and Dej Loaf's Can We Get a Room? And we don't gotta tell nobody. I know you really, really want it, but you belong to somebody else. Both wanna be together, but we can't act on it. We were naughty like that. And this guy, what is this? We were basically supposed to leave our significant others for each other. That didn't quite happen, right? And I'm grateful that it didn't happen. God had different plans for me. He didn't want me being somebody that's going to shapa some other woman with a stinner. So during a tumultuous breakup with me and my ex-boyfriend, this guy saw that I was broken up with my ex on Facebook and then decided that he's going to take me on a date. And I was thinking, he must have seen my breakup. So this must mean that he's prepared to leave his girl, takes me on a really happy date. And then the next day, he's out here flashing his girlfriend on Facebook. I was so upset. Anyway, whatever, that guy, funny guy. Reason why I was on that Dej Loaf tip with him, it's because he was so funny. He's so funny. He was so hilarious. Able to drop a bomb out you in these streets without you asking for it. And for me, it's like, if a dude is funny, I promise you everything else will fall apart in my life. I just won't care about nothing else. Like, nothing else is gonna matter, guys. I'm falling in love. I'm literally just falling in love. Yeah, I have a thing about funny guys. It's my Achilles heel. There we go. I just confessed something. It's my weak spot. It's my weak spot. But thank God A lot of guys just ain't funny. So it helps that some guys are just freaking boring. Like, anyway, look, this dude from the US, yo, that's like it waits it dead. Siklabana orubetse and your head itchegile ka side. And then wasupuma in the like your head is like on the side and then there's like drool coming out. That level of boredom because you like dozing off. And then you suck in drool. Oh goodness, I'm so tired. That's how boring he was. He was boring. Guys, I am Jokos. You can go and ask anybody that's ever known me. People I tend to get close to, I was always giggling with them. The chick, Wako MTN, the Indian girl that stabbed me in the back. The reason why we got along like a house on fire was because we were both always like yeah, at literally nothing, just all day in Jeff. So we got tight because we found everything funny. She was funny, so she became my girl. So what I'm trying to explain is that it goes both ways with friendships and also with like romantic prospects. Yes, I have had friends that are relatively just okay to hang with, but the ones I get real tight with, nah, get out, you gonna be a joker. There was this girl that I was close with grade 11, 12 in my crew of friends from high school. The Jehovah's Witness. She was another one. Just out of this world, dropping random bombs that are landing in the nicest places. And so we got tight because we're always laughing, always pulling stunts, naughty, annoying the teachers and everything. It goes both ways. It really does. So if a person just does not know how to be funny, yeah, but I can't, like angwazi. Anyway, now that we've put that out there, I know it took me a minute to finally I just had to highlight the importance of funniness. I had to highlight the importance of funniness because it's a deal breaker for me if a guy's not funny. And I know when a guy is funny ever so immediately. Oh, my ex-boyfriend on our first date. I almost fell in front of him, and ever since then he would tell me, like, just from like basic walking, he'd be like, watch your step. Watch your step. Like he made a joke out of it for maybe like the first 4 months of our relationship until it just got old, and then he found new jokes. Yeah, so I can laugh at myself, and I also appreciate somebody who can be like, watch your step and make it such a big joke that like it's a thing. There is this dude that I got tight with that I used to study with at Wits. All these people that betrayed me, how tight I got with a person was literally determined by how funny they were. This Okie at Wits, like a Congolese oak. Initially, I thought he was just like the stuck-up rando or borang that's always just like, yeah, he's always in the gym. That's why all that iron has just made him a dry guy. So whatever. Until we started working together on projects and what have you. And that's another one. Bombs. Dude. Another bomb. And then we got real tight. So tight that we used to call each other almost every day. And how we would start our conversations. Hey, Krabs, how are you? Nah, I'm good. And just start laughing for nothing. There's nothing said. Nobody has spoken a single thing. But we laughing. Yeah. So, like, proper. I have my people. When I was at MTN, there was my crew of, like, people that I used to hang with every so often. I see, I just thought about something. Funny guys, people stabbed me in the back, y'all, and to their own peril, because now it makes memories sad. It makes nostalgia just terrible. But they were funny guys. They used to like dancing everywhere. And so there was this one guy that always used to have his pants up here, and he used to twerk like a he would twerk against what do you call this, against like railings on a staircase going up or down. He would twerk against trees. He wasn't gay. He was just funny. He would twerk against the desk. He would twerk against anything. He would twerk against the wall. And because his pants were always up here, it just made it even that much more funny. I'm trying to explain to you guys that there's just certain people who stick on me like Velcro. And it's funny, guys. Like, I don't know. I have a thing about funniness. I need laughter. So if I'm this funny and I like being around funny people and I'm married to a boring guy, whew, guys, yes, like it, but I'm gonna find myself so severely like miserable in a marriage. I'm busy thinking about the guy that used to like twerking. One time at a team building, we were going home to our cars. We were walking towards our vehicles, and he started twerking against a tree, and then he went and twerked against everybody's car. Anyway, I'm trying to help you understand how certain things are just not sustainable. You know, witchcraft, like, yeah, it's too ambitious. It's too ambitious for certain people. Like, you are literally disregarding what a person likes. You are disregarding what a person needs. You are telling yourself, this is my woman, I want her. And if you're a boring guy that is just, guys, when I was with this dude, I remember one time talking with him on the phone, and I was thinking, it can't last. He was just going on and on and on and on and on. Yes, like it. I was like, whoa, is this what it's gonna be like? This is what marriage is gonna be like. Korobela is working hard, but as I'm talking with him, I'm thinking, this can't work. He was so boring. Yes, like, and he also did not even understand some of my own bombs that I would drop. We were just incompatible. He was just going and going and going, and ooh, guys, like, God have mercy. Yeah, somebody might take that in their stride, but to me, he was like cardboard, eating cut box, and just like, yeah, boragna taste. It was just quiet, dead, flatline. I was gonna be with this guy with this kind of personality. If at all you watch me daily, you will know my personality more or less. 1 minute. You will know my personality more or less if you watch me daily. Some days I'm flat because I'm undergoing a lot of demonic attack. But I'm bubbly. I'm quite bubbly. I'm jocose. I'm full of jokes. I'm animated. I'm extremely animated. And I have never ever been wildly in love with any man that was not like me. I have never been in love with a man that was not like me. My ex-boyfriend and I were like two clowns. And it worked so perfectly. Yeah, guys, there's no guy that I've ever been very in love with that was not a clown. Yeah. There's no better description that I can use than the word clown. How can I describe, if I were to use a celebrity example of the kinds of guys that I have typically dated? Trevor Noah is one, right? But every so often, like, there was a guy that... It would be entirely feasible for me to date a guy that's like Jim Carrey. It would be entirely feasible for me to date a guy that's like Kevin Hart. Entirely feasible to date a guy that is like, let me think of another one, like a Chris Rock, a comedian, like a joker. It's what I've always been drawn to. And it's always been a partnership in that little circus, frankly, of a relationship. Or like, Halibora as a couple, because you are so naughty or so like uncontrollable, like the atoms just constantly vibrating. Njavela, like just always vibrating. Yeah, sounding like neighing horses. That's what's good. A relationship of that nature. Like type of funny to a point where food is coming out your nose and stuff. Yeah. Cause you always just like laughing. I'm sorry, I don't wanna think. Cause now stuff is coming to me in my mind. My ex-boyfriend yes, like it, his witchcraft to make sure that I don't do any better than what under heaven it is that he was, has drawn to me. Yes, in kenyoms. Amatota, I kenyayo. Like the dude that I dated, wako MTN, briefly. Kenyoms, like no man's business, but I wrote it out for whatever reason. Ultimately, was gonna catch up with me. The dude that I fell for, the one wako MTN, Kimang, the one that married the other woman that I was like just head over heels in love with. He was funny. Like it's almost like everybody that it makes sense for me just kind of slips through the cracks, and then the ones that stick around and even try to holla and then slap me with korobela. Give these guys abazongi kenya king keren king 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 keren king 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 keren king king. Yo, hi bandla we okuparibitsang ambulance because mina ain't poregile lana, dying of boredom. I was gonna die of boredom. This man could not make me laugh. On top of that, I had no respect for his gullibility, his credulity. So funniness was one thing. When you're gullible and you just fall for anything that comes your way, that's a massive turn off for me. I've always had a thing for academics. I've always had a thing for people who respected study, people who respected inferences, people who respected how to reach a conclusion in a way that is informed and not just running with whatever somebody tells you. So a person that could make up their minds based on lots and lots of, like just disseminating information, for me, it's a massive turn on. A guy that knows arguments, a guy that is well versed in arguments. In other words, he knows how to reach a sound inference. Let me rather say a respectable inference from data presented to him. Yeah, a man that can reach a respectable conclusion from the data presented to him. Whether or not I agree with the conclusion he has reached, I get off on understanding how he got there. And I had absolutely no respect for the guy's inability to rightly divide the word of God. And pretty much every other way that he used to reason, I was kind of turned off, if not very hugely turned off, by the fact that he was at all taken away by the tsunami of the Black Hebrew Israelites. Any self-respecting, professing Christian that really truly is reading the scriptures should never take certain things seriously. How that guy was able to reach a conclusion that he is a Hebrew as a black man, I couldn't understand that. Like, based on what, dog? Like, based on what? Come on, like, we're reading the same Bible, yo. How you reaching that conclusion? Like, I have no respect for that. Like, I can be with a man that is a post-tribulationist, believes that the rapture happens only at the end of the tribulation. If he can table for me an argument that I can see where he's coming from, even though I'm personally pre-trib, and it's a non-essential. But when you start rolling out in these streets talking about how as a black man in America you are a Hebrew, I'm like, how? Like, yo, how? I don't even want you to explain it to me because I have no respect for that argument. That was another thing. And then he's like, anyway, something I'm just toggling with, I'm dabbling with it, I haven't not yet completely decided. Don't freak out, the word that he used was languish. He was like, don't languish over this issue. It's not even that big because I'm not yet arrived at the point of solid conviction. But why are you even romanticizing the prospect? Why are you even dancing around with it? Why are you even luxuriating it? Like, I don't understand why you even thinking about it, because it just does not make any sense. So for me, I would have really struggled with this guy to basically agree on essentials. Like right now, there is a very deep thing I'm holding dear to that has caused global division. And I frankly feel like it's the kind of stuff that would cause me to fight with my husband if he didn't stand with me on it. It's what's going on in the Middle East right now. This war with Israel and Hamas. My stand is pretty solid. Can't stand what Hamas done did. I will never turn my back on Israel, and I will ever perpetually be convicted that Israel needs to finish Hamas off, wipe them off the face of the earth. And I won't care what the UN has to say later or what America will do later. I won't care for a ceasefire. I will always stand with Hamas being obliterated. Those are my solid convictions, and they are so solid that I'd go into a cockpit and fight some people over it. I feel very strongly about it, and the reason why I feel as strongly as I do about it is because I recognize Israel as God's land, because I am a Christian and I read the Bible, and if God has said it's my people and that's my people's land, I've got some pretty big issues with anyone that begs to differ, because you can't just disagree with God. I find it humiliating to suggest you can't just disagree with God. Like, yeah, you can disagree with me as Garabo, you can disagree with my mom, even that door, but you can't disagree with God. The day you start to disagree with God, you are unrespectable. You have lost respectability. Arguments and debate, like, get out. You've lost the competition. Where's the buzzards? Hey, you're out. You don't deserve to be part of this Stetford. Yeah, where it's a war, a debate, pros and cons. You've lost early on in the competition. Go back home, get in a bus. You don't deserve to be here. Don't deserve to be here. So people who are a man that is, that dude, just based on the fact that he believes that he's a Hebrew, means that he's very likely of the belief that Israel does not have claim to their land and God has forgotten them. The black Hebrew Israelites are somewhat replacement theologists. And so they likely either don't have any stand for what's going on in Israel right now, or they are pro-Palestine. And if anybody rocked up all up in my grill as my man being pro-Palestine, we're not sleeping in the same bed. Like, it's an essential to me. And I would feel disgraced by the prospect of even being in a position to make a decision as to whether or not we're sleeping in the same bed tonight, because why am I married to you? How in the world did we not have this discussion prior to getting married? How in the world did I not iron out what you believe about Israel? What do you think about Israel? It is an essential to me, and it ought to be an essential to anybody else. I can't have an anti-Semitic man. And that dude in the US was a low-key sent anti-Semitic, because there's no way you're gonna go on and lay claim to being a Hebrew and not hate the real Hebrews. It's like a white person walking into this room and claiming to be black, and in so claiming to be black, also automatically be cool with me. We can't be cool because you're taking over my thing. There's gonna be war between us, because I'm gonna stand up for the fact that no, I'm the black one here, you're white. And if you don't want to agree with that, you're disregarding that I am black, because you are claiming that you and I are the same thing, and we can't be, because the stats are clear, they've been presented, and if you don't want to back down from your wrong conviction, you are coming on my turf. And so we are going to be at enmity with each other for as long as you hold to your belief that you are what I am when you are not what I am. I cannot be, therefore, with a person that is a Hebrew Israelite. Well, for a myriad of reasons, I don't even think they're saved. But among them is the fact that at such pivotal times in history where Bible prophecy is being fulfilled in light of the land, this dude is just standing there on some, I'm the real Hebrew. Like, really? So Gog and Magog, what's going on there? Is it going to be coming to America to black men? Is that what's going on? Who's going to make Damascus a ruinous heap? Is it going to be you? Are you going to be throwing an intercontinental ballistic missile onto Damascus one day as, like, black people? Like, you just completely ignore the Bible like that. I can't respect somebody who cannot reach conclusions based on data in a way that is respectable. And so that guy with Korobela, the dude from the US, first he was boring, made me get with tete after drooling that I was licking back in. Gross. While he was talking, he was incredibly boring. And then over and above being boring, he was a black Hebrew Israelite, or he said that he wasn't a Hebrew. And when I asked him if he's a black Hebrew Israelite, he's like, no. I'm like, then what are you? Because they're the ones that are claiming that rubbish. You are not Hebrew. Relax. Why would you reach that conclusion? A lack of right division of the word of God. And never mind the word of God, but if you can reach those kinds of conclusions about the word of God, then every other academic debate on this earth, I will have no respect in entering into it with you, because you're going to reach conclusions from the center of your buttock. It is not going to make sense at all for me why you agree with something. And you can't even help me get where you're coming from. We were always just going to argue about things, and what it is that we would argue about, to me, it would be so cast in stone and black and white that it would cause fights. Type of stuff to cause a whole bunch of war in a marriage. Like, as in, and people are not allowed to divorce in guys. According to the word of God, you can't just send a person a letter of divorcement. There are rules. And even then, you can't remarry. Okay? So you gotta get it right the first time. And irreconcilable differences is not a reason in God's eyes to divorce. It doesn't count. Not that anything enables you to remarry, but irreconcilable differences is utterly wrong, Njefela, to put away a wife or put away a husband. If I can't discuss matters in the Middle East as Bible prophecy is unfolding since I'm watching the world, the way that I'm watching it, with my husband in a way that's not going to cause me to be irritated with how unsophisticated his way of thinking is, it's gonna make me pull out my hairs. It's gonna make me pull out my hairs. Type of stuff that's going to also make me covet, long for, fall for a dude that I can have as the same discussion with, and the two of us agree. I will look at him in covetousness. I will long for my neighbor's husband, essentially. The Bible says, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's husband or wife. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife. I would end up coveting wise men. And men, be they single or belonging to other women, I would always be like, but why can't my husband just think like that? I would be out here coveting my neighbor's husband and sinning against God. I'm trying to help you understand that when you allow yourself to compromise or settle, you put yourself in a position to sin against God so egregiously. Known or unbeknownst to yourself, irrelevant is that fact. What is rather true is that you're putting yourself in harm's way. You can't just rush down the aisle, women. Know yourself, girl. Know yourself. Do a tabulation ever since you came to Christ based on the guys you dated prior to coming to Christ, or even if you've never dated before but you're like super duper chaste, consecrated. What kinds of guys have always made you laugh in class, at school? What kinds of guys have you always clicked with? What kinds of guys have you always had a crush on? Because even though you wait until the age of 20 to be courted so you can get married, you definitely in the run-up to have guys that you have a crush on. Whether or not you're dating them, you need to ask yourself, what was it about Neo? What was it about Jomo, Pita, Tabo? What was it about Busiso and Jabu that made me low-key spaz, even though I'm exercising self-control because I can't date? Recreationally, it's wrong, girl. So if you've never dated, there's always somebody that you've had a crush on. And if you have dated, why did you fall in love with these guys? And if at all something like a lot of factors are just absent in a dude, like flee. I'm talking right now about what you call this thing, korobela, to disincentivize men from carrying on in this absurd behavior. Yeah, okay, guys, you know what? God has made somebody for everybody. Allow yourself to fall in love with a person that is gonna find something about you cool, okay? Something about you okay. Yeah, you can't just go and grab something off a shelf at the store that's not made for you. Understand, you gotta be bespoke out here in these streets. Like, because then it's gonna spaz, it's gonna twitch, it's going to glitch, it's going to gyrate, it's gonna malfunction, it's gonna pull a stunt on you, it's going to not want to switch on. Batung, like there are, there are factors that key in to why anybody has a crush on anybody at all. And if they're entirely absent, but a woman is being pulled like a puppet on a string by nothing but this nefarious corobela, yeah, you're asking for your lady to go and covet thy neighbor's husband. You're properly asking for it. And men, since you, unlike us females, I'm exhausted, okay? Since you, unlike us females, men, are a lot more sensitive to being cheated on, I just feel as if though you have a greater disincentive to not do korobela, because you put yourself in a position for your lady to be laughing at the jokes of some other dude because you ain't funny. You're putting yourself in a position for your lady to be having intellectual discussions and low-key developing a crush on a colleague because you are dumb. I'm sorry. You are putting yourself in a position to have your woman spaz over some other dude that she is far more compatible with. A woman thinks a particular way or doesn't think a particular way, won't notice when a guy's arguments disrespectable, when they lack virtue, honor, respectability, and all manner and kinds of je ne sais quoi. There are women that just are not gonna be able to pick it up. They're not going to be able to know because they're not interested in that. They're not interested in Bible prophecy. They're not interested in the news. They're not interested in the Bible at all. They have not been trained philosophy. They have not gone to university to learn arguments. For them, it's like, oh, this guy, whoa, and you can actually teach them rubbish. There are women that can be taught rubbish by men because of the fact that in and of themselves, they're just these like wandering, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, like, admiring ladies that look at a man like, oh, he's so smart. Look at what big words he uses. He knows how to say supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. There are women who will look at a man like that that's speaking absolute rubbish. Absolute 100% jibber jabber and run with it, because in speaking that jibber jabber he's quite eloquent. In speaking that jibber jabber he's using big words, his grammar is on point. In speaking jibber jabber he's talking about things that this woman does not understand. But there are other women, they're kind of versed in that particular tone of discussions, and when you talk to her she just is gonna roll her eyes and squint and feel very turned off. So men, like I said, there's somebody for you. There's somebody out there that's going to listen to you talking about how you was a Hebrew as a black man, and she's gonna be like, really? Oh man, and join the cult that you belong to. So stop slapping women with korobela and just allow yourselves to fall in love with women that think you're the best thing since sliced bread, because they exist. They do exist. I'm actually going to use an example right here of a guy that I started listening to, but I stopped listening to him. However, in the beginning stages of me watching his content, I found him very attractive because he's a very beautiful man, and he was speaking so much sense that I was like, whoa, what would I do to be blessed with such a man of that nature? If only he was age appropriate. He's much younger. Okay, his name is Isaiah Robin. Yeah. After watching a lot of Isaiah Robin, I then crashed into, we shall call it crashing, right? I crashed into because I did not expect to be so turned off overnight. I crashed into his eschatology, all right? And I was just so off-put that I stopped listening to him altogether, because he gets very feverish and very like fighty, he becomes like a warrior when he is putting forward his views on eschatology, evidencing that he has been told a couple of times by people that he's wrong, and his response is to basically say, I'm right. So his feverish response, his feverish proclamations on the rooftops about the fact that there is no such thing as, never mind the rapture. He says there's no such thing as a rapture. People like those I can't. Okay, it's essential for me, because it's one thing to believe that the rapture is post-trib or mid-trib, but to say there's no rapture is to say that like certain passages in the Word of God just don't even exist. Coupled with the fact that he's one of those people that believe, it's called amillennialism. They believe that the world is just going to get better and better, and it's their job to make it better and better. And that Christ is going to come when the world is all peachy. How in the world do you read that into scripture when you look at the book of Revelation? So how feisty and angry and effervescent in his fight he is in proliferating this particular agenda and talking about everybody that believes in the rapture as being dumb. How feisty he gets, it turned me off. Isaiah, however, is largely sound in certain parts. He is pro repentance and all these things. He's not the kind of guy that would lead you astray, if you know what I mean. But his eschatology is just bombs all. Do you understand? It's just bombs all in the worst way, because the scriptures are clear to me. So I cannot be with a man whose eschatology is bombs all. It is not bombs all to be post-tribulationist while I'm pre-trib. It's a difference of opinion, but it's bombs all to believe that Christ is going to come to a peaceful earth. I can't sit with a man like that, because he's going to be busy out here trying to improve the earth when I'm trying to warn people of the impending Antichrist system, while I'm trying to warn people of the impending damages of the earth, while I'm trying to warn people of the impending sorrow, the impending persecution, and he's thinking that it's only gonna get better. Like, we've got two different evangelistic modes, and we have got two different panic buttons. He doesn't have one. I have one. I'm looking differently around the world, and I'm anticipating a new thing, but he's my husband. How do you plan? How do you teach kids? How do you? Yeah, so Umar, he lost me, yeah, Isaiah. I don't listen to him anymore, however. Not because of that. It's because YouTube has stopped recommending him, because after that bombs-all eschatological explanation of his, I got turned off. Coupled with the fact that he's a modalist, and I can't, Marcus Rogers, these people who don't believe in the Trinity, somewhere along the way they also fall off the bandwagon and other biblical veracities, and it's a turn off. So anyway, whatever. Isaiah, I can't really say that he lost me because I'm still subscribed to him. I just don't get recommended him anymore. But that's the kind of stuff that a guy's cute and you could be crushing on him, but somewhere along the way in the middle of your first date you are like, okay, like, he was really cute, he was adorable, yeah, like that dimple, what's going on? Yes, like it, but I mean, I can just fathom, I can foresee, I can speculate, I can forecast, yeah, that we're gonna have a hardship in our marriage because of his evangelical stance. Mine is going to be red flags being flailed, warning people of the end of the world, the Antichrist system being upon us. I'm going to notice things that are feeding the beast system that is impending upon us. And this guy's going to be telling everybody, we gotta work to build the kingdom of heaven on earth without Jesus. Second date, those would not. First date, Dinjafel, as soon as or whatever date it is, where it is that you'd be talking about this, alarm bells would be going off. And if at all you're smart, you're not gonna run with just a cute dude, okay? You're not gonna just let the cuteness take you away like a tsunami. You're gonna foresee fights in a marriage, differences of opinion that are too lofty, therefore causing the likelihood of things like irreconcilable differences. Imagine getting divorced over doctrinal differences. That's the kind of stuff you should figure out before you even get married. That's what courtship is for. What's a man's stance on Israel? What's a man's eschatological view? What's a man's soteriological view? Does it believe you can lose your salvation? I was reading the comments section underneath, I think it was Tom Hughes. One woman was crying there on some, my husband believes that we can lose our salvation and it's really causing a groove in our marriage. It's really causing a dent in our marriage because I keep on telling him God does not have butterfingers. And I was like, that's the kind of stuff you had to have figured out before you got married. You properly cannot have an anti-Semitic husband as a Christian woman because he's into replacement theology. He believes that we have replaced the Jews. And so while he's calling himself a Christian, he absolutely hates the Jews. That's the kind of stuff that would cause irreconcilable differences in a marriage, but you gotta figure them out before you get married. So, I mean, like I said, deal breaker for me is if you're not funny, it's gonna go awry somewhere along the way. And if you cannot, make respectable arguments that I, as the kind of intellectual that I am, can respect, your cuteness on that date don't matter. Let it fly out the window like a dove. Everything else, how beautiful the babies could be. Hey, what's the point if at all the parents are always going to be sleeping all upset at night because the guy is like, don't come at me in my face with that again. Like, let's just agree to disagree. Yo, but you already knew that before you got married. So Corobella is the kind of stuff that, like, for instance, like, of course, I'm using an analogy here with Isaiah Robin. A guy like Isaiah Robin slapping a woman like Karabo with Corobella because he's like lukewarm, he's flaccid, he's not really saved. And so he's dabbling with witchcraft. He then slaps Karabo with Corobella. Karabo then goes on right ahead to get dizzy because he's so cute over and above wanting me. Yeah, and then in the marriage, since she walked down the aisle blind to Isaiah's Goro, now they're like always fighting in the marriage about their, when it comes to their eschatological views, their views on the Holy Trinity, which I think is an essential, but that's another story for another day. There's just always these tumultuous wars in this marriage. And then next thing, Karabs goes and meets like a dude out there that just gets it. go Bible study at in some fellowship with other believers, and you meet this guy and he's just like dropping the same bombs you agree with. And now, since all of these things that you like typically in a guy will cause you to like him, that's what makes you like him. Yes, you might initially be drawn to how beautiful he is outwardly, how handsome he is. But even if a guy is not handsome or is not physically what you're looking for, some things that can make a girl fall for him are the funniness. He makes up for it in other ways. Some things that can make you fall for a guy is his intelligence, or how he places arguments, or what he believes about God. Like, that stuff can make you fall in love even though you were not even trying to like the guy. So here it is that you're having discussions with this dude at Bible study and your heart is just beating some kind of hard way, and you've got a husband at home that doesn't even think that Jesus is coming to end the war, but rather that Jesus is coming to carry on a peaceful reign. Whew, guys, Yazin, Korobela, you are putting yourselves in a position, men, to have your ladies, the females in question, thoroughly wander out there in the wilderness. And if they are South African, if they live in a country where a woman does not get beheaded for having an affair, you are risking the thing that afflicts men more than it can ever afflict a woman. Men are like animals when it comes to marking women. They're territorial. And when your woman is wandering out there over some other dude spazzing hard knock, you've shot yourself in the foot with Korobela, don't you see? You've shot yourself in the foot. Because now your lady is out just spazzing. It was precisely because you wanted to control her that you brought her in kakori. Yeah. But now she's like properly slipping right through your fingers. And some other dude is causing her to go cray-cray. Therefore, messing with the very thing you try to do. You wanted to conquer her. You wanted to take her by fire and by force. And now some other dude is taking her without even trying. That's the risk you're facing. Don't you see? Hey, we're not done. I still gotta tell you my dream. Let's move to the next part.